What if school wasn't just about finding the right answers, but about designing your own solutions? That's really the big idea behind the IB Middle Years program's approach to design. So in this explainer, we're going to break down the key goals of the program and see how it really sparks creativity and some seriously powerful problem-solving skills. So really think about this for a second. Most of the time in school, we're asked, what's the answer? But MYP Design, it totally flips the script. It asks, how can you, yes you, create a solution? And that's why it's not just another class on your schedule. It's a whole new way of looking at the world and all the challenges in. All right, so first up, let's talk about the power of design, and I mean what it really is, because it's so much more than just making pretty things. It's about falling in love with the process, not just the final product. It's about seeing design for what it is, a super powerful tool for thinking, and yeah, for making real change. And this is so cool. The very first goal of the program is for students to appreciate the elegance and power of design. I love those words. It's not just about, building a better mousetrap. It's about getting a thrill from the challenge, seeing the pure beauty in a clever plan, and really getting that aha moment when you realize a truly elegant solution can change, well, everything. So this whole philosophy has a name. It's called design thinking. And the key is, instead of just jumping in and engineering some product, you start with people. You start by understanding what they actually need. I mean, think about your smartphone. The designer's literally obsessed over how it feels in your hand. Or that backpack you had in school, it was designed specifically for a student's chaotic day. It all comes down to empathy, creativity, and a really hands-on way of innovating. That's the mindset they want students to get into. Okay, so that's the big idea. But how do students actually do it? Well, it all comes down to what's in their designer's toolkit. This next part is all about the real tangible skills and the processes they learn to take an idea from just a thought to something real. And right at the heart of this toolkit is something called the design cycle. The best way to think about it is like a roadmap for solving any problem. First, you put on your detective hat. You inquire, you analyze, you dig deep into the problem. Then you become an inventor, brainstorming, dreaming up all sorts of ideas. After that, you're the engineer. You actually build and create the solution. And finally, you become a critic. You look at what you made and evaluate it. Did it work? What could be better? And here's the key. It's a loop. It's not a straight line from A to B. You're always learning and going back to improve. And as you go through that cycle again and again, you start building this incredible set of skills. You're not just learning physics in a vacuum, you're using it to design a bridge. You're not just talking about art, you're applying those concepts to a user interface. Technology isn't just for scrolling through social media anymore. It's a tool for 3D modeling, for analyzing data. It's all about taking that abstract stuff you learn in books and using it to build something real in the world. Okay, so having the tools, that's one thing. That's super important. But the real game changer, the real transformation, comes from developing a design mindset. This is where we shift from the tangible skills to something you can't really touch, a whole new perspective. We're talking about fundamentally changing the way you see the world and every single challenge in it. And a huge piece of this mindset is all about collaboration. The program really hammers home the idea of respecting other people's viewpoints. Why? Because in design, there is almost never one single right answer. The absolute best solutions, they usually pop up when you smash different ideas together, when you have that moment of realizing someone else's perspective just showed you a solution you were completely blind to before. And this right here, this highlights such a critical shift in thinking. If you have a fixed mindset, failure feels like a dead end, game over. But a design mindset, it sees failure completely differently. It's just data. It's a valuable clue that shows you what to try next. It's this core belief that you're not just good or bad at something. Your skills can grow with practice, with feedback, and yeah, with a whole lot of resilience. This mindset also gets you thinking like a time traveler, in a way. You're encouraged to look back at designs from the past, to see, what was going on in the culture then. Then you look at today, analyzing the innovations happening right now. And then you look to the future, thinking about where things are headed with emerging tech. It's this deep understanding that design doesn't just happen in a bubble. It shapes our society, and society shapes it right back. All right, this brings us to our final piece of the puzzle. This is where it all comes together. We've talked about the toolkit, we've talked about the mindset. Now let's see how they combine to really empower the student, to turn them from someone who just learns stuff into someone who actively creates stuff. When you boil it all down, the entire program is about one thing: application. It's just not enough to know things. You've got to be able to do something with what you know. This is the moment where all that theory smashes into reality, and knowledge finally becomes action. But here's the crucial part. The ultimate goal isn't just to create for the sake of creating. It's about creating responsibly. That's why the program puts so much emphasis on things like integrity, honesty, and taking ownership of your work. The big idea is to develop students who are, yes, innovative and brilliant, but also ethical and deeply aware of the impact their creations will have on the world. So that brings us full circle, right back to a big question. Just imagine for a second, if more of us learned how to design solutions with empathy, with that resilience to keep trying, and with a real sense of responsibility, how would that change the world around you? What problems in your own community could you start to solve? It's a pretty powerful thought. Thanks for joining me on this one.